Hello? Again? Hi. No. Okay. Jesus. Hello, people of Earth and beyond who are definitely watching this. It's me, the girl with the funny accent. I am back kind of again. It's been weird. I know I promised you in my last video that I was gonna try and make an effort to be back, and then I immediately got sick. So like, it's just been a fun time. Obviously, the last couple of months really have been weirdly stressful for me. It's, you know, being in hospital and then getting sick almost immediately after. I had my transitional presentation for my degree to worry about, and just basically just had so much to do. If you've watched my channel for a while, you might know that I had some struggles with depression at the beginning of the year. So needless to say, 2019 was a bit of a rough one. I wouldn't say like it was a bad year particularly, but I mean, it definitely didn't go the way I wanted or expected it to. Today, what I really wanted to do is talk about how I am hoping to make 2020 different, and I'm not talking about how I hope 2020 is different. I want to talk about what I want to do to make sure it is. I've talked about before how I feel like if I do something, if I can feel like I'm doing something, anything to inch myself towards a thing, then I tend to have a higher mood, I tend to feel better about myself. I know what my goals are for 2020 in an abstract way, so today I'm going to talk about what my goals are for 2020 that could help me kind of feel like I'm on track with the world and kind of just talk about the sorts of things that I hope for myself and what I'm doing in the new year. So yay. My first goal is to finish one draft of my dissertation by the end of 2020. That does not sound like a big deal. And honestly, I don't know if the way that my supervisors work will be conducive to this, but it's something, if I want to graduate at the end of next year, which is my third year, it's kind of like the goal is to start my write-up in August and finish next summer, not next summer, but next summer, 2021, then it feels like it needs to have something tangible so I can spend the next 4 to 6 months, whatever that is, really refining and rewriting and honing my dissertation. The thing is though, my dissertation is 80 to 100,000 words long, which is the length of a book. And I mean, obviously I've written several fiction manuscripts in an abstract way that shouldn't feel like a lot of writing, but it's different to the sorts of academic writing I've done before. Obviously it's much more intense and in-depth. And research and reading for me is quite an abstract thing, like, oh, I need to do my reading for the day. But that doesn't necessarily, it's difficult for me to know how much reading is feasible. So I can say, oh, if I want to read 20 pages a day, that's great, except for some 20 pages are easier to get through than others. Sometimes I have to take meticulous notes, sometimes I can pretty much skim and only take the most important parts. It depends on the article I'm reading and how relevant it is to my particular set of research. Knowing how reading and how much I'm going to be reading or how long the research process is going to take is really difficult for me. If you want to know how I kind of think about this and how I plan this out, I did make a video when I was doing my master's dissertation about how I keep my head straight when I was doing that, and how I literally give myself a checklist to tick off every day. I haven't done that this past year. I am really bad at using planners. I always have been. Last Christmas, I got like a really expensive one actually, and just like barely touched it, which I felt terrible about. I brought it to work with me so I can hope that I could tick tasks off at work, but it was the same problem at work. I would say, oh, I want to do this today, and I'd never be able to finish it when I was there. And so it became something more of goals. Like, I want to finish the first draft of this submission by the end of September. Well, guess what happened at the end of September? I went into hospital. So I didn't finish it until mid-October. One of the things, since my goal is to do the writing in 2020, writing is something I can plan in an academic sense. Writing is something I could say, okay, I'm gonna outline today in one day. Every single time I say I'm gonna outline today, I stress myself out because it takes me literally all day. Outlining takes me a really long time. But I'll say, okay, I'm gonna outline today, I'm gonna write these 3 paragraphs tomorrow, and then the next 3, and then the next 3. Splitting it up that way means I always get something done and I never feel overwhelmed, and I never give myself too much to handle, if that makes sense. So it's like one task a day, and I don't let myself work ahead. Like, that sounds really bad. My mom always says, you never know what's going to happen. Always work ahead when you can. But I find that if I work ahead, then I'll want to work ahead the next day, and I'll want to work ahead the next day. And then my brain starts making a new goal for myself. So if I wanted to finish it at the end of September, now that I've been working ahead, now I want to finish it in the middle of September. And then I'll start feeling shitty about myself if I don't meet those goals, because, you know, working ahead every day isn't possible or feasible or necessary. It's just something that I found really works for me, and I'm really hoping that the fact that 2020 is going to be spending most of my dissertation writing. I mean, I'm still reading and researching a shit ton, obviously. I'm also doing the writing things will give me a way for me to feel like I'm doing something tangible again. That's goal number 1. That took a really long time for me to describe. Goal number 2, finish my current manuscript by the end of the year. I've written first drafts in a month. I literally write all the time, whether it's for work, whether it's for my own purposes, whether it's for my degree. I'm always constantly writing. 70,000 words, which is my goal, isn't that much, but what's different about this particular manuscript, and you're going to hear me talking about it a lot going forward, it feels different, it feels more personal, it feels like something I have to say, whereas other manuscripts might be something I want to say and I can have fun writing. I'm very critical of myself when it comes to this manuscript. I've written about 2.5 sections, and I just find myself just sending paragraphs upon paragraphs to my mum being like, can you tell me that this sucks so I know what to fix? And I'm much more critical of the style of writing in this one. When I wrote Ophelia, I was really confident in the voice, and I knew kind of the trajectory of where I wanted the story to go. It was plotted out in large beats, and I thought, okay, well, I'll get to this beat by the next chapter, but then I found that there was actually something else that needed to happen, so I would slip it in, and it would just keep extending, and that's basically how I wrote that manuscript, just by realizing that more needed to be said, and how I could say it, and it flowed out of me fairly easily. I'm not going to say it was easy to write, but I knew what I was doing. And even though I kind of know where I want this to end up, I have no structural framework. I know the characters, but in a very sort of abstract way, as though they were friends of mine and not creations that I know every single thing about. I've asked for advice on the Facebook groups that I'm a part of, and a lot of them just say, just let your characters take you where they want to go. But then sometimes I know where those characters are going, but there's a step in between, and writing that step in between doesn't feel... It feels a bit mundane, which sounds really terrible. But, I mean, I've always gravitated in my life towards stories that move very quickly. But this story can't, but it's also one that I need to tell, and it's a different style of writing than I'm used to. It's a different process that I'm used to. I'm in completely new territory here, and all I know is that it needs to be said. I don't know, that's difficult, so I really want to finish by the end of the year. It would be really nice for me to say that I finished the first draft process entirely, so I go through and I re-edit it, and I re-edit it again, and I send it off to people by the end of the year. That'd be really great for me to say. Writing this story feels more like a compulsion than an obsession, if that makes sense. So whereas other stories I get really excited about and I'll go home and I'll just keep writing, this time it's like, this thing needs to be said, and so I'll write down a sentence. But if I sit down and just force myself to write, I don't feel like it comes out as organically, so it's been a lot more difficult for me to write this. So I'm hoping this year to figure out a process that I can get a story like this out into the ether, at least onto paper, so that I can feel a little bit more confident in myself and what I'm doing and all that. So that's goal number 2. Goal number 3, write more. And now that sounds exactly like goal number 2, but it's not. I need to be writing just like all the time. I need to, you know, they always talk about practice makes perfect, and that's a really great adage and stuff, but I never think to write for my own blog. I have ideas of articles that I want to submit to websites and things, and I'll have the title and the first sentence, and I just never go further than that. Allow myself to use my dissertation schedule to actually do some writing so that I can get to that point where I feel more confident in how I write certain things. I want to learn how to write a short story this year. That's a goal I have that's related. I want to learn how to write a short story. I want to try more poetry this year because I never write poetry and I'm kind of terrible at it, but when I do write it and I kind of like what I write, then I think, oh, I should do this more, and then I never do. So I really want to use that whole planner thing, that outlining, writing this for a day sort of thing, and kind of space it out. I don't know, check out my blog, I guess, and let me know what you want to be reading about so that I can get some ideas, because honestly, I have no idea. Again, I don't know how feasible that is because I'm essentially working 3 part-time jobs if I include my writing and my PhD and my actual job. So I don't know how feasible that is, but I do want to write more. So rather than saying my goal is to write something every week, my goal is to write something. Goal number 4 is to be more present. I've never been a social media user. I have never understood the point of it. I have an Instagram and obviously I have YouTube, but unless I'm disciplined about recording something every week, you know that I won't. It's been made very obvious, and I made this channel as like an outlet for a way for me to do my own little projects and put them out in the world for myself, be more present, and to kind of put myself out into the world because I've always been quite introverted. And I think I talked about this in my 2019 goals video about, I guess my goal for this year is just to be more present. It's to actually take pictures of things. I used to take pictures of special events, and now I don't. Share what I'm happy about, share what I'm grateful for. Sorry, I'm still sick. Could you tell? But I don't just mean be more present on social media. I mean be more present in the world. 2019, really the last couple of years, but really in 2019, I've become really passionate about things that are happening, you know, really trying to push in my life to be the sort of person that I want the world to be like. I'm very cynical, but I'm also very idealistic, and I think that the world sucks, but I also think that the world could be better. Stand up for myself more. That's a really big one for me, and to find a way, use my voice, however small it may feel like it is in my introverted little brain, to say something that I'm really passionate about. I guess my goal is to use my voice more. Goal number 5, music. I miss music. I used to play my flute all the time, and I don't anymore. It's still here. It's sitting right there. I love it. I miss it. But I just haven't found a way to play it. But I'm bringing my music stand back here. I've got a bunch of music books. I want to play them. That's a really simple thing, but I want to get back into the habit of when I get anxious to pull my flute out. Because I used to do that, and I would play my favorite songs on the flute and it would help me. Keep working on myself, I guess, is another kind of goal. And I mean, for as not great as I've felt this year, especially early in the year, I do feel like I did make some progress, and I did get a little bit more confident in who I am and what I want to be this year. And so that's good, but I want to continue that because I don't think I've done enough, and I always think you can do more. Last goal, stay on top of my shit. This was a weird year. I wasn't feeling great. My floor did not get vacuumed as much as it should have been. Keep on top of my shit. That's a good goal. It's a good goal. Those are my big goals for 2018 or 2019. Oh my god, what year is it? 2020. I cannot believe this. Those are my goals for 2020. What are some of your 2020 goals? I'm actually super curious to find out what people are excited about in the new year, in the new decade. Holy shit. I will, as of next year, have lived in 4 decades. So real quick, the last thing I want to talk about before I go is my plans for YouTube in the next year. I mentioned that I want to be more present and that I do want to make more videos and stuff, and I do. We'll see how that goes, but I really do. I really want to make that effort. But one of the things I want to do this year is kind of, I want to use YouTube to talk about things that I'm super excited about. I might do some more informal stuff. I might do more formal stuff. I have no idea. On the writing end of things, I'll probably be talking about kind of some academic stuff on the trying to create good habits, because honestly all of my good habits that I'm attempting to create come not from the creative side of things but from the academic side of things. On the creative side of things, I'm probably going to be talking about kind of where I'm at in processes and how I'm approaching each one. Like I said, this manuscript is a whole new ballgame for me, and I hope, as you can tell by the way I talk about it, that it's something that I'm passionate about writing and continuing to work on. So hopefully I'll be able to talk about strategies and ways that I branch out and things that I find helpful when I'm not necessarily feeling too confident in myself. And on the other stuff side, I'm going to talk about whatever I want to. If you do want me to do a movie thing, let me know what genre you want me to do in the comments below, because I'm always looking for new ideas. If you have something you want me to talk about kind of more in depth, also let me know in the comments as well. Yeah, I want to feel like a functioning adult this year. Thank you for watching this weird rambling nonsense of a video that I've cut out probably half of at this point. Sorry for my voice, I'm still somehow sick. It's been 2 weeks, so that's fun. Don't forget to like and subscribe. For the people who have subscribed in my hiatus, welcome and thank you. I really appreciate you. And social media in the description. Check out my blog and my newsletter. Let me know if there's anything you want me to talk about on either of those things as well. I'll see you next time. Bye.